Welcome on my channel. As you know, over the past few weeks, I've been preparing an exciting journey where we'll explore the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning, one step at a time. To keep things efficient, you'll always have timestamps so you can jump straight to what matters most. If you're new here, here's what you need to know. Unlike other channels, my goal isn't to keep you binge-watching tutorials. Instead, I want to get you building as soon as possible. That way, we can grow together as a strong community, ready to make a real impact in the world. Studies show that the best way to learn is through repetitive practice and testing. To help you with that, I've structured my tutorials like this. First, we'll break down the concepts in the simplest way possible, making sure you understand each step clearly. After that, you get an exercise file, linked below, so you can start practicing immediately. The exercises start easy and gradually get more complex, challenging you to research and experiment, because that's how you truly level up in coding. So, are you ready? Let's build something amazing! Since you're here, I won't waste your time explaining what Python is or why it's important. You already know that, so let's jump straight into the action. To run Python, we first need to install it on our system. Head over to python.org, go to the Downloads tab, and grab the latest version for your operating system. In my case, that's Windows. The installation process is super simple, just like any other software. An installer will open, and you can stick with the default settings. However, don't forget to check the Add to Path option. This little step will save us from headaches later on. To write code efficiently and avoid unnecessary frustration, we use something called an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. This is a software application that helps developers by combining essential tools like code editing, building, testing, and debugging in one place, making coding much smoother and more productive. There are plenty of IDEs to choose from, but my favorite is VS Code, and that's what I'll be using in this series. If you prefer another IDE, no worries, you can still follow along without any problems. But if you're just starting out and want to install VS Code, here's how. First, navigate to the official VS Code website and download the latest version for your operating system. Once downloaded, feel free to go with the default settings and launch it when you're ready. The VS Code is a very complex IDE but still beginner-friendly, and if you wish for a more in-depth presentation of its interface and features, let me know in the comments below. I will gladly do that. But all you need to know for this video is how to add a folder. The simplest way is to drag and drop it into the main section here. Once done, you can check the Explore section over here, which you can toggle by simply clicking its icon. Here, you can see and manage the files and folders inside the working main folder. Of course, you can add folders, files, and refresh by simply clicking the icons on top. If, by accident, you move folders or files around, simply drag and drop them to the desired place. The most important section is the terminal. To display it, simply navigate to the top menu here, over the Terminal section, and click New Terminal. If you've never used a terminal before, I will show you the main uses so that you can work with me. Again, let me know in the comments if any of you need a more in-depth explanation of how the terminal works and the main commands we use. So, when you first open the terminal, you'll be located in the main folder. In our example, we have Python 101 with an episode 01 folder inside. Inside episode 01, there are 3 more folders and each folder has its own files. Let's say we want to open exercise1.py from the recap folder. To do so, a very easy beginner approach is to right-click the folder, click on Copy Relative Path, then go back to the terminal and use the cd command and press Ctrl+V to paste the path. Just hit Enter, and you are in the right location. Here we have a lot of Python files, and you'll know they are Python files because they all have the .py extension. Since we installed Python earlier, we can simply use the Python command followed by the file name and press Enter. And voila! You've just run your first Python script. But what if you need to go to the exercise or reinforce directory? Well, for this, you need to navigate back, and the command for this is cd followed by 2 dots. Then, use cd again to navigate to your desired location. Remember, cd plus 2 dots is used to go backward, and cd plus a folder name is used to navigate forward. In Python, comments are special lines of text that the computer ignores when running the code. They are useful for adding explanations, notes, or reminders without affecting how the program works. To write a single-line comment, you use a special symbol called hashtag at the beginning of the line. Everything after this symbol on the same line is treated as a comment and won't be executed. You can place it at the start of a line to describe what follows, or even at the end of a line after some code to explain what that specific part does. However, if you press Enter and continue on a new line, Python will treat that as regular code unless you add the symbol again. For longer explanations, you can use 3 apostrophes at the beginning and end of your text. This allows you to write multiple lines of comments without needing to add a special symbol at the start of each one. This method is also commonly used for documenting functions and larger sections of code. By using comments properly, you can make your code much easier to understand and maintain, whether for yourself or for others reading it later. Think of variables as small boxes where we store things, except instead of toys or snacks, we store data values. These boxes can hold different types of things, but in Python, we mainly use 4 types. Strings for text, integers for whole numbers, floats for decimal numbers, Booleans for true or false values. Unlike some other programming languages where you have to declare a variable type, Python is smart and figures it out on its own. That means you don't have to say, "Hey Python, this is a number," or "this is text." It just knows. Making a variable in Python is as simple as choosing a name and assigning a value with the equal symbol. We can choose name for the variable, this case, name, followed by equal sign for assigning and the value we desire, like Alice, and since it is a string we can use double quotation marks. Easy, right? But before we dive deeper, let's open each box one by one and understand what's inside. A Boolean can only be true or false, like an on-off switch. To assign a Boolean, we need to choose a name. For an easy example, let's try is student, followed by equal sign, and switch it off by using false, or on by using true. Here you need to pay attention that Boolean are key sensitive, so false with capital F is not the same with false, and Python will return an error, since Booleans have always capital letter first. Let's try some examples. If we print 10 greater than 5, it return true, since 10 is indeed greater than 5. But if we print 3 equals 5, it returns false, since 3 is not equal to 5. And if we print Alice not equal Bob, it return true again, since Alice is not the same with Bob. For sure you noticed I used 2 equal signs here, because in Python 1 equal is used to assign values, but 2 equal signs are similar to mathematical sign equal. And for sure you also noticed the exclamation mark used here. In most languages, including Python, exclamation sign is similar to the word not, which means not equal. To make things clearer and help you avoid feeling like you need to memorize everything, I'll provide a cheat sheet in the description below. You can use it confidently during the practice section. Shortly, you'll be able to recall these signs effortlessly. Now, it may sound overcomplicated using Booleans in this easy example, but mastering Booleans variable will be very useful for decisions and conditions in Python. You see, Booleans have only 3 operators: the words and, or, and not. Using this, you can write very complex conditions. I will show you a few examples, but don't worry if it does not make sense immediately. We will come again to Boolean conditioning as we will dive deeper in flow control in the next videos. But until then, here is a short explication. Let's take 2 variables. The first one called is tired equals true, and second one has homework equals false. Now if we plan to use the word and, both variables need to be true in order to return true, since in our case his homework is false, the output will also be false. But if we change has homework to true, the output will also be true. Let's change has homework back to false, and let's try it now by using the word or. You see, in this case, even if one variable is true and one variable is false, the output return true, because when using the or word, only one condition need to be true. A little different job makes the word not. Whatever your original value is, when using not word the value will be reversed. In this case, if is tired originally was true by printing this using the word not first, now became false. But don't worry, it is changed only for this print. If we call the variable once more, time without the not word is again true. Now let's take a look at integer and float variables. Both are similar, with the main difference being that integers are used for whole numbers, while floats are used for decimals. In this example, age equals 25 is integer, and heights equals 5.7 is float. But as we know, Python loves math. By using integers and floats, you can perform all kinds of operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division, modulus, and even exponentiation. You can also mix integers and floats together. Let's break these down step by step, using variables to illustrate. We take a variable x and assign it to 3, and a variable y and assign it to 5. Now, let's look at each operator. For addition, we use the plus sign. So if we have x equals 3 and y equals 5, we do x plus y. This results in 8 because 3 plus 5 equals 8. So the output is 8. Then we have subtraction using the minus sign. So if we do x minus y, we get 3 minus 5, which equals -2. The output is -2. Next, for multiplication, we use the asterisk sign. So x asterisk y gives us 3 times 5, which equals 15. The output is 15. For division, we use the slash sign. So x slash y results in 3 divided by 5, which equals 0.6. The output is 0.6. Now, floor division is a bit different. We use the double slash sign. Floor division divides the numbers and rounds down to the nearest whole number. So x double slash y results in 3 divided by 5, but instead of 0.6, it rounds down to 0. The output is 0. Then we have modulus, which uses the percent sign. Modulus gives us the remainder after division. So x%y is 3 divided by 5, and the remainder is 3 because 5 goes into 3 0 times, leaving 3. The output is 3. Finally, for exponentiation, we use the double asterisk sign. Exponentiation raises the first number to the power of the second number. So x double asterisk y is 3 raised to the power of 5, which equals 243. The output is 243. These are the operators, and you will try them all with the exercises I've prepared for you, but before, let's also take a short look at strings. A string is just a piece of text, always wrapped in quotes, double or single. So, we have name equals Alice, and message equals hello world. Just like integers can do math, strings have their own special abilities called methods. Let's take the message variable as an example. To use a method, simply type the variable name, add a dot, and choose the method you want from the list. Let's test the upper method. Run the Python script once more, and as you can see, it converts the text to uppercase. However, keep in mind that methods don't change the original variable, they only transform it for that specific call. If we call the message again without the method, it will return to its original form. But if you want to permanently change the variable, you need to reassign it. In this case, you first take the variable, use the equal sign to assign it again, and then write its name, followed by a dot, and choose your desired method, exactly like this. Don't forget the parentheses. Now, if we simply print the message, it will be in uppercase without using the method inside the print function. Actually, now it will always be uppercase, since the variable holds the updated value. In Python, we can make our programs interactive by asking the user to enter information. This is done using a special function called input that allows us to take input from the keyboard. When we ask for input, the program pauses and waits for the user to type something. Once they press enter, the input is stored, and we can use it in our code. Are you curious how to build powerful inputs in your code? Well, let me show you. An input starts like any other variable. We first need to choose a name for the variable that will store the user's response. After that, we use the equal sign to assign the variable, and then we call a special function. As we already know, its name is input. Since it is a function, it needs parentheses to take input from the keyboard. Now run the script and see what happens. Nothing? Well, something did happen. The script ran and followed each line until it reached the input function. At this point, it paused, waiting for us to type something. Once we enter any text and press Enter, the script continues executing each line one at a time. But this input isn't really useful yet, right? The user has no idea what's happening. So, let's improve it by adding a message before the input function. To do this, we place double or single quotes inside the parentheses of the input function. Inside the quotes, we write a message that tells the user what to enter, and then we run the script again. Python is smart enough to figure out where our text ends and where the input begins. Almost perfect. Now that we have a variable storing the user's input, would you like to use it in your code? Here's how. Let's say we have the user's age, and we know we are in the year 2025. We can easily calculate their birth year by subtracting their age from 2025.
And oops,
we got an error. If we carefully read the error message, we notice that Python is telling us we can't combine a string and an integer. Why does this happen? Well, by default, Python treats all inputs as text, even when the user enters numbers. This is because Python doesn't assume what the user means. It keeps everything as a string to prevent unexpected errors. But don't worry, we can fix this easily. Let's find out how. So, how do we fix this? Simple. Since we know the input should be a number, we need to convert it. To do this, we go back to our age variable and, right before the input, we specify the type we want, integer in this case, since age will always be a whole number. To make it work, we open parentheses and double close them at the end, first for input and then for integer. Now, the age variable can only accept whole numbers, and with this fix, we can do the math and find out that the user was born in 2000. But what happens if you try to put something else in the input, like a float or a string? Python will crash and give us an error, value error, invalid literal for int. As we move forward, I'll show you how to handle such errors so that instead of crashing, you can inform the user about the mistake and let them try again. But until then, you've made great progress. Even though it may not seem like much at first, you now know how to write and run small scripts. Are you ready to tackle the exercises I've planned for you? It will take a little time and you may run into some errors along the way, but this is the right way to learn programming. Watching tutorials alone won't take you far, but practicing will. So, whenever you're ready, grab your cup of coffee or tea, grab the exercises, and get started. In the description below, you have 2 methods to get the exercises. First method, navigate to my GitHub link, click on Download, unzip the archive, and then simply drag and drop the entire folder into VS Code. Second method, join my Discord server, head to the practice section, and download the zip file. Again, unzip it and drag and drop the folder into VS Code. In the Explorer tab, which you can open and close by clicking the first icon, you'll find a folder called Day, followed by the learning day we are in. Inside this folder, there are 3 subfolders. The first one is called Exercises, and I recommend you get started with this right away. The second folder is called Recap, and I suggest you wait until tomorrow to go through it. Giving your brain some time to process everything you've learned today will help reinforce your understanding. In fact, studies show that sleep plays a huge role in consolidating new information, so sleeping on it could help you recall the concepts more easily the next day. The third folder is for after a short break. Take a day off before tackling the next set of exercises. This will give your mind a chance to recharge and come back with fresh energy. Taking breaks in between learning sessions is really beneficial for long-term retention and keeping motivation high. Don't worry, when you get back, the exercises will be a little more challenging and will need a bit more research, but I'm confident you'll do great. You'll also have lots of hints along the way to guide you through. And remember, if you ever need help, don't hesitate to reach out to me in the Discord channel. I'm always happy to support you as you progress.